Cool. So we are live. How are we doing?
Doing good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good. So let's introduce ourselves. So I'm Brad, founder of Nurtured Scale, and this is Kieran.
Hello, guys. Yeah, I'm a paid social manager. Working on the accounts day today. Um, yeah, it's all going good.
Scaling many accounts.
Absolutely.
That's what Kieran's good at. So topic of today is an interesting one and a common one at that.
Absolutely.
So ad account numbers, what we use, what we don't use, what we look at, what we don't look at, what we do take at face value, what we don't, and why. Why do we not take certain things at face value, and
Yeah.
why do we trust some metrics in the ad account and not others? Um, so first one being click-through rate, and specifically link click-through rate, which is your shop now button. So the main reason we're looking at link click-through rate and CTR in general is because that is the sole purpose of the ad. The sole purpose of the ad account is to drive the click through onto the site. That is the main objective of the ad. Not, and this is something that we've spoke about before, and we'll get into this deeper in a minute, but people get really caught up in, oh, this ad's not converting, or that ad's not converting. And people forget that the ad is not where they convert, the ad is not where they buy. The ad can only get them to the website, which is where they convert and buy. And then that sale is attributed back to the ad that they came from, which is a whole different topic in itself, right? But once your click-through rate is there, your average click-through rate of the ad account is there, with obviously we aim for minimum benchmark of link click-through rate to be 1.5. In the beginning, if it's fresh and it's new and you're learning, you can take 1% as a bare minimum, but eventually, once you're scaling and you want to, you really do want to get it to a 1.5, that's the end goal. But yeah, it's once you have that in your ad account and you've got an average link click through rate across the full account of 1%, 1.5%, the problem's not really in your ad account anymore. It comes down, if it's not working, then you have to then, look at your customer journey on your website, which is obviously Shopify, and,
Yeah.
see where the drop off is, because we see it time and time again where we have got clients with really good click-through rates, some of them, 2.5, 3%, like double the average that we're going for, right? And then you look on the website and the conversion rate is terribly low. Even starting at the add to cart ratio, terribly low, which means the people are interested in the product because they're seeing the ad, they're interested, they're coming through. Say for example, the emotional triggers that we're pushing in the ads are working, and we can see that it's backed by the click-through rate. But then when you come to look at the website data and they've got a really low add to cart ratio and it's low all the way down to conversion rate, that means we've got a high bounce rate, right? So high bounce rate meaning there's friction between them leaving the ad and coming onto the site and then them going no further than that, especially
Yeah.
when you've got a low add to cart ratio, because that's the next thing they're going to do is add to cart. If they're not even doing that, then there's a problem somewhere, right? Usually that points to an offer issue. They're interested in the products because they've came through, we see that. But they're coming on the site, they're seeing something, and they're like, no, I'm out of here, I'm going.
Yeah.
So this is why we look at click-through rate, and that's why we look at it and what we use it for. So CTR is a
Yeah.
big one. It's one of your main metrics in the account.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, just on that as well, what is another metric that's important? CPC.
There's a correlation between cost per click and CTR, right? Because they're both clicks, click-through rate,
Yeah.
but also cost per click, right? So usually there's a direct correlation between cheaper CPCs and high CTRs. That means you've got good creative. Because cost per click means they're stopping and clicking on that ad. So the cheaper your CPCs are, the better your creative is, the more likely they're clicking through on it as well. So if you've got really high CPCs, as in you've got expensive cost per click, you're either hitting the wrong people or your creative's just not good enough. Sometimes it can be both, and in a direct correlation with high CPCs, you're probably going to have a low click through rate on that ad as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a issue that we came across recently, I think within the last month or so, with a new client. So we built their campaign out as usual, our structure. And then in the first week or two, to be honest, we was actually getting comments from them about, retargeting. A lot of people were seeing a lot of their ads, over and over again. So we looked in the ad account and we, saw the frequency was drastically high.
Yeah.
So, what is frequency? Well, frequency is, if it's high, that means it's going to the same people over and over. The example I just explained. So we usually, a good frequency to have is, in the ranges of, 2 to 3, no higher than that, really.
As an
So,
average on the account as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, some ads within that top of funnel will be doing, 1.2, 1.5, which will be doing all the cold stuff, and then, statics later down the funnel will be having higher ones. So yeah, it's an average. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what we did in that case, we built out an exclusion campaign side by side to go after net new people only.
Yes.
And we can see the big difference between the campaigns. The CTR improved drastically and pretty much instantly as well, going after the net new people.
Yeah, absolutely. And also FTIR.
Yeah, first time impression ratio. It's definitely something that's overlooked a lot and probably missed by a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, FTIR is a custom metric as well. It's not one that is default in Meta. You have to make it by yourself. So first time impression ratio is a big one. It's a good one. It tells you, just like frequency does, that you are hitting new people, but in a percentage rate rather than just a number.
I had a question yesterday, or was it yesterday, or very recently from a client off a call, and it's a very common question that I have all the time. It's this ad, they've seen it's got more purchases attributed to it. So the question is, why don't we turn all the other ads off, or why are the other ads still running? And we give more spend to that top performing, in quotation marks, ad. The main reason being is, it's a very, it's a misconception. We don't want to turn, first of all, any ads off. It's not something that we do.
Yeah.
But people, the misconception of that top performing ad that's got the more purchases, it's not what's it called? So I'm going to restart this point where you can cut this out.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah. So a common question that I get from clients is they've seen an ad that's got more purchases attributed to it. So they ask, why don't we turn all the other ads off and, push more spend to that top performing ad? The reason we don't do that, and the reason we don't turn off any ads, because it works as a structure, as a system. They all work together. And you can't look at an individual ad's attribution, because you have to look at it this way. Imagine someone, they've seen the first ad, they've generated some interest there, but it's middle of the month, they've not been paid. They've now seen, second, third ad, the intent's, grown, they're almost ready to buy, but they just don't have the money. Payday's now landed. They've now said to themselves, no matter what, the next time I see, this brand's ad, I'm going to buy. And then boom, they've seen now the fifth ad, they've clicked through, but that fifth ad's going to get that purchase attributed to it. Meanwhile, it was, the first or second ad that's done all the legwork. So that's why I can't look at individual ad attribution. The reason we don't turn off any ads, or why we don't push spend to one particular ad, is because that's not how we structure our campaigns. We run a CBO, so we let Meta do all the work. We let Meta decide where the spend can go.
Yeah, and just on like a bit more on the part where you're saying about the journey, the customer journey, right? and people waiting for payday. So, say for example, just to elaborate on that a little bit more, if you're a fashion brand and somebody is, it's the middle of the month, they see your ad for your best selling tee, yeah, they
Mm.
want that best selling tee. But like you said there, they're gonna wait till payday, which is like 2 weeks later, yeah. And they know when they get paid, it doesn't matter what ad they see at that time, it could be for a pair of socks.
Mm.
They're going to click through and go to the site and buy that tee that they wanted. But the socks ad, for example, socks, is
Yeah.
going to take the sale, right? When really they bought the tee. This is the problem with attribution. This is why you can't look at it. But yeah, absolutely. The funnel works as an ecosystem. The ads all work in sync together, right? So we've seen it many times where the top spending ad has got the highest CPA, it's got the worst ROAS. Obviously, we don't look at, this is why we don't
No.
look at in-ad account CPA and in-ad account ROAS, because they're just not true because of tracking attribution. They've got the worst CPA and the worst ROAS, right? So to anyone who doesn't know about Facebook attribution, they will say, "Oh, that's not good. We'll turn that off." But what we're doing is on a weekly basis, we're filling the machine up with more creatives, right? And we're saying to Meta, here's all the options. We want you to spend on what's most likely to convert. That's the objective of the campaign. And that's what Meta's doing. And those top spending ads are your volume driving ads. They've probably got the best click through rate, the lowest CPCs. The hard metrics are not at face value what you're seeing in the ad account. Don't look pretty, but they're not true. We're working for back end numbers. We're not working for a pretty ad account, right? So that is where people go wrong. And don't get me wrong, I'm talking from experience. Before I learned this, I learned it the hard way. So about 3-4 years ago, when we started to change the structure to this approach, I remember I was in an account and it was a friend of mine's brand we was running together. And results were really good on the back end, right? And then one day, we was in the ad account and we saw the top spending ad had a shocking ROAS. It was a UGC video, obviously doing all the top funnel work. Shocking ROAS, high CPA, and we made a decision together to turn it off. Right, results were good on the back end. Right, we shouldn't have been in there anyway, knowing what we know now. If results are good on the back end, you should not be going in there optimizing stuff.
Yeah.
Like the job's done. Yeah, results are good on the back end. Anyway, we turned it off and sales plummeted the next day, and we was like scratching our heads, was like, what's going on? What's going on? And then we worked it out. That ad is doing more than what it's saying it's doing.
Yeah.
And this is why you can't take it at face value. Them CPAs and them ROASs that look terrible on them top spenders is not true. It's just not true.
Yeah.
We're working to the back end. So if your back end on Triple Whale is looking good and it's positive, that's coming from what's going on in the ad account. Because we know we spend 80% of the marketing budget for most brands in Meta. So that's driving 80% of the volume on the back end. So Meta is the majority responsible for them good results on the back end. So what's happening in that ad account is working and it's driving those positive results. So it's one of them things like where you said the client wants to start turning ads off.
Yeah.
And when results are good on the back end, why are you going in the ad account turning ads off? It's just over optimization.
Absolutely. Just something that you just mentioned there, Triple Whale. I've now begun to learn, after speaking with other people who work in other agencies, they still use in-platform metrics and they don't even know what something like Triple Whale is. Triple Whale shows us, the true blended figures. Blended ROAS.
Blended CPA.
Yeah, exactly. But they're still not using it, so I think it's genuinely almost crazy. People are still using in-platform metrics like ROAS. In 2026, it's crazy for all those reasons. You just mentioned something that you didn't say, but you did speak upon a little bit about Google. Google steals Meta's attributions. Google works on a 30-day attribution window as opposed to Meta's 7-day window. So someone who's seen, your Meta ad, who's interacted with it, if they type it in on Google, after, 25 days, 29 days, Google's going to steal that purchase. And there's also the iOS privacy update, I think that was from 2020. So still, a lot of the people or a lot of the data that's in the ad account is missing because we can't physically see that from the update, from the privacy update.
Yeah. So two things there, very good points, and I want to go into them a little bit more. So like with the Google one, with the 30-day window, I always give this example. Again, with the it's mid-month. Imagine it's mid-month. Somebody's seen your Meta ad, and they're gonna wait till payday to buy, right? So they'll screenshot the ad. They'll screenshot the Meta ad. I'm not saying that everybody will do this, but some will, and this is where attribution can cause issues. They'll screenshot your Meta ad, and they're gonna think, okay, in 2 weeks' time, I'm gonna buy that product. They get paid, and instead of waiting for your next Meta ad, they'll search you in on Google, right?
Yeah.
But Meta works on 7-day click windows. This person who's now been paid is now searching in on Google 14 days later. So that Meta ad is not going to get that attribution, but Google will. When really they came off the Meta ad. Google's just took the sale. So that is another scenario where as to why we can't look at attribution. And the next one, iOS 14 privacy update, is a big one, and even prospects that I speak to on a weekly basis still to this day are unaware of that problem. So in 2020, Apple dropped the iOS 14 privacy update, where that meant when you downloaded this new update on your phone, it means that basically what happened is when you download an app on your phone now, after that update, there comes up a question: are you going to let us track what you're doing, yes or no? Or do you want personalized ads, all that stuff? But the main one is, are you going to let us track what you're doing, yes or no? Most people click no because they don't know what it means. It just sounds scary to them, right? But I understand what it is, so I say yeah, because I want, personalized ads and stuff like that. But most people click no. And what that means is, when they buy through one of our Meta ads, and they've got that setting on, the attribution doesn't go back into the ad account because we're not allowed to track what they do once they leave the Meta app, Facebook or Instagram. So for that reason as well, we're losing loads of data.
Yeah.
Prior to that, we would get everything, So that causes a massive leak on attribution as well. So what we do is we look at it from a bird's eye view, and we use incrementality, right? So we're making changes and we're scaling, but when we do that, we're not then going back into the ad account to check those results. We're looking at the back end. We're looking at triple whale, the actual numbers of the business. And what we'll see is time and time again as well, for our clients that only run Meta, this is a good one, I like this one. For example, like Glow Up, for example, they was running just Meta for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And if you put triple whale and Meta ROAS side by side on last 7 days, how different is the ROAS?
It's crazy.
Especially for this client, was spending a lot of money and was on 7-day click only. The ROAS difference is crazy. Obviously, it does do, some stuff organically, but 80 to 90% of his traffic is coming from Meta. So the correlation was like from Meta ROAS to triple whale ROAS, his actual blended ROAS was like almost half, It was showing like a 1.1 in the ad account, but like, 2.5 in triple whale. So yeah, and the CPA was crazy different. Like his NCPA was around anywhere between 14 to 20 quid across an 18-month partnership, and I don't think I ever saw it below 25 quid in the ad account, maybe even higher, 30 quid probably, So the discrepancy is wild, and that just proves that the attribution is massively off. But so many people don't know this. Yeah, it's true. It's a very confusing thing for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So spoke about a lot in the ad account, attribution, other metrics as well, and just touched on something there about the data. Something that, is, again, it's not understood as of yet, I don't feel like, particularly with new clients, is, the pixel and seasoning.
Mm.
So this happened a lot for us. Onboarded a new client. We look at their maximum spend, it's below even 5K for some people. There's absolutely no customer data there. The pixel is not seasoned.
Yeah.
Usually we recommend, or we see, around 30K is, it's a good figure where we'll see a well-seasoned pixel.
30 to 50K, yeah.
Yeah, and until then, Meta simply does not know who our customer really is. So
Yeah, it's in the learning phase.
absolutely the learning phase. So what we do in the beginning, and I think I've heard you say this before, but some people still see it as an outdated thing with the interest tax. Giving Meta, the machine, a little bit of a push in the right direction until we can get to that point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is an outdated strategy if you're running an account, that's scaling and isn't a brand new fresh ad account,
Yeah.
like you should not be doing that for brands that are spending, 5 to 10K a day on Meta or 10 to 20K a day on Meta. Like those brands are, they're well off. Like you
Yeah.
should not be running anything but broad at that stage. So in that case, it is outdated. But I believe that for some accounts, not always all of them, but when you get a fresh ad account and it's a fresh Shopify brand and you've got no customer data, yes, straight away we will run broad, always will run broad, and we'll be as diverse as we can in the creative to target as many people as possible in that creative in terms of pain points, tapping into as many markets as possible to open the TAM, the total addressable market. But sometimes it is just extremely slow on broad, right? And I've seen it so many times where it's really slow on broad. We put an interest stack in to just try and help it, give it a shove in the right direction, and all of a sudden, one interest stack, say for example, we put 5 ad sets in there, all different interest stacks. One interest stack, one audience can get lots of spend all of a sudden. And that helps performance and it helps Meta speeding up that learning phase because on broad, you're not giving it any it's got access to your creatives, but for whatever reason, for some accounts, it just seems to be very slow on broad in the beginning. So I vouch for interest stacks, but also, as I said, there's a time and a place for them. If broad isn't working, it's too slow. Give it a test. Why not? Throw it in the CBO. If it gets spent, it gets spent. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You're not wasting any money, right? But then once you are watching those ad sets on a weekly basis and you're seeing spend fluctuate, what you'll notice is after a few weeks, the spend will start to lean back off of the interest stacks and Meta will naturally lean back into broad and broad will become your top spending ad set.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's Meta saying, I don't need them interest stacks anymore. You've helped me out. You've pushed me in the right direction with those. Take them back. So we turn them off and then we put it on broad and it goes even more efficient. Yeah. So there's a time and a place. They don't stay on forever. They just help us in the beginning. Obviously, as well as handling the bigger clients of ours, spending 5 to 10K a day on Meta, we also are taking on new accounts as well if we feel like we can get it moving. And that's, that is definitely something that we've come across with the new accounts with no data. It's like, sometimes they just need a push in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I feel like those interest stacks do help in that scenario. But yeah, there's a time and a place for them. In the first 30 days of a new account, I think they help. I wouldn't use them anywhere more than that.
Cool. I think we've touched upon most of the common issues or misconceptions about the ad account.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think there's too much. I think there's anything else missing particularly.
Yeah, I think we've touched on everything there. Yeah. Thanks for jumping on. It is currently Friday, 10th of July. It's hot here in the
It's
UK.
a big heat wave,
We're in for a hot weekend. So yeah, what are your plans for this weekend?
This weekend, just to be honest, we've got our game's been moved to tonight, so we'll have the weekend off.
Oh, you playing tonight?
Yeah, I'll have a match tonight. Yeah, so
nice. That'll be a hot one.
Very hot one. Yeah.
Enjoy, and good luck.
Probably go out for the England game. Maybe we'll see.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
few drinks for the England game.
Nah, I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna drink again for a while, bro.
You know.
No, definitely not.
What do you think? England versus Norway on Saturday. What do you think?
I don't know. I watched Norway against Brazil. Like they're a difficult side, and obviously Haaland, mate. He's a
He's just
beast.
different beast, isn't he?
Yeah, I need to get on
Yeah.
that raw milk Viking.
Raw milk, yes, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Raw milk is the one. What was I going to say? Now we've also got McGregor this weekend. McGregor's
I
back
know,
on the
bro.
scene.
Yeah, that's what I've been. My mate's having like a get together or something.
Nice,
Why is the
nice.
UFC so late? Why is
Because
it
it's in
always?
America.
It's always in America.
Not always, but this one is in LA, I believe. So, yeah, the time zone is different. Crazy
I don't know how they do it. Even the England game the other night, that was it got pushed back
1
to 2
a.m.
a.m.
Yeah.
Bro,
Oh, yeah,
even
2 a.m. Yeah.
yeah, my eyes were fighting, bro. Even back before midnight, I didn't
Yeah,
make
I
the
did
second
not.
half.
I did not stay up for that. No way.
Yeah,
I was fast asleep.
yeah. I don't
Cool.
know.
All right. Well, I'll leave you to it. Nice one for the call. Great chat as always. And have a good weekend. I'll see you on the next
Nice.
one.
See you, bro. See you.
Take care.